everybody wants to get united. Like, what we gotta do is meet everybody on 149th Street at the bench.
Hey dudes, welcome back to the bench. Today we got ourselves an interesting video because the year's coming down to an end. So I figured what better way to kick off the new year than checking out what other people had put in these books in the past. And we have a lot of books to get through. We're talking a whole lot of books, more books than I've ever read. So let's get right into this, starting with, well, I guess one of these at random, but it's in no particular order. We're just gonna go, wow. We're just gonna go, wow, I can't say this. We're just kind of gonna go through this. So starting off with this one, oh man, we have some actual photographs. Some that I've taken, some that were given to me from way back in the day. We got a nice straight letter here from Demmer. Drunken Pawn, which I used to love Pawn's work. His pieces were nuts, but Drunk got up a lot, and I used to enjoy seeing his work out as well. You can see it again down here in this photograph with Equinox. Some really sick stuff. Drunk was awesome. This canvas down here, I'll be honest, I'm not exactly sure who did this. This was a picture, I believe, in the shop, because he used to have actual canvases on the walls, real high up above the comic books that he used to have, and I believe this was one of them. Even more photographs. Here we have Narc, Brew, Pawn, and Sane. Now, if you're from Jersey or around the area, some of these names are pretty familiar, but one of my favorite graffiti artists around my area was Brew. He was also a really chill guy. He had to be one of the funniest people that would come into the shop back in the day, and his work was also really original and funky. We're gonna be seeing a lot of his work in these books because he used to come to the shop quite a bit, as well as Pawn, but seeing stuff from these guys is always sick. Now, these are special, right? Because these are from the 70s and 80s, these photographs here, and these were in a store that my dad used to go to, and I believe one of these photographs coming up was actually one of his pictures, but to be 100% honest, I'm not sure which one it was. I got these from my mother with very little explanation as to, you know, context for these pictures, but that's what some of these are from. Now, obviously, most of these aren't his, right? So you got Scene here, you got one that says Time. I like this one a lot, the one with the trains. I like that one quite a bit. And then we have even more with Cocaine Brain, which I think that one was his, but not 100% sure. Holy crap, man. See, this is wild, man. Seeing the actual date here, 2007, it blows my mind. It brings me back, it truly does. This one's from Nab, and as you can tell, a Philly artist, and he decided to rock a little bit of a piece with the A smoking a little, you know, a little something, and then a Throwie here on the bottom with his handstyles up at the top. But my God, when you kind of look back in the past, some of these things don't seem to be that far back, you know? And I know it's just 2007, but this was such a moment in history as far as my life is concerned, to where it's really nostalgic. Now, this is a dude right here that I will never forget. He used to go by Omero, and I don't know what exactly happened between us. It was childish crap, right? Like, it was nothing special. But he used to be a cool dude, and out of nowhere, I find that him and I don't get along. Once again, I don't remember what the hell happened between us. But man, I used to rag on this guy constantly. I used to tell him all the time how toy he was. And looking back on it, man, looking back on it, I'm like, dude, there could not be anything more stupid than beefing with this dude. Dudes, if you want to learn graffiti and all of its general fundamentals with excessive amounts of detail, then be sure to check out our brand new book in the description down below. We currently have a holiday sale going on. It's the perfect time to pick it up, and you can find that in the description down below. Now, on our website, we have ebooks, and if you want physical copies, you'll be able to find those over on Amazon. Now, this page right here is actually from an artist that I still see around every now and again. Now, I don't see him in person because I moved to a different area, but this is from Mad Hatter, and this might have been one of the first times we met where he passed down these handstyles to me during an event that the shop was having. Mad Hatter is yet again another person we'll be seeing quite a bit in these books. He used to come by the shop pretty often, and he certainly was at pretty much every single show that we held, and we held quite a bit. And during those shows, we'd end up meeting a lot of people, which is where a lot of this comes from. Weirdly enough, I don't have all of the sketchbooks. I think maybe my partner got some when the shop closed. We used to have a few books that were just dedicated to people hitting those books during the show. Here we got ourselves another page where somebody hit it, and it looks like they started a little bit of a piece and then stopped midway. Like they decided, you know what, I'm not doing this. Let's just rock a Throwie handstyle, you know, and a few shout outs to Cruz and whatnot. Then we have Set. And growing up, this guy always had one of the most funky styles. It always stuck with me. I mean, it doesn't look like your average graffiti. Not to mention the fact he also had a really dope character. A character that, especially especially for the time, the character was far above what many people were doing. And people were doing, I swear, I'm not taking pot shots at him, alright? But people were doing more stuff like this. So his style always really stood out, and it seemed super refined. And to this day, I still love his work. But he's rocking JAOAOK, which I always thought was a really cool crew name. DMC KOF as well. Here we got more Pawn. Pawn had a sick throwy, man. But I really loved his hand styles. He was able to flow like nobody's business. And his pieces, man, if I could find a photograph of his pieces, I'll put it up on the screen for you guys. But his pieces were so fresh. They had no business being that dope. Then, of course, you know we had to have Demer in one of these books. He's obviously gonna show up quite a bit just because, you know, he kind of owned the store I worked at. But here he's rocking RSH and the Walnuts crew. He's no longer with the Walnuts, but man, I remember the day he put me in RSH, my mind was blown. But I was conflicted at the same time because while I was ecstatic to be, you know, in the crew, I knew I wasn't worthy. I knew I wasn't worthy to be in the crew. Oh, and then we have some girls that got a hold of my sketchbook during school, and they decided to write a lot of stuff in here that I have never read, to be honest, because your boy here had a terrible habit of having girls like me, and that would go right over my head. You see this one? Kiss Me Too, Fiercely. I never read that. Who knows? If she was pretty, I might have wanted to. You know, I should have read this, man. My God, your boy was dumb. But check this out, right? This is from Arez, and Arez, man, he came through like a damn hurricane during one of our shows. We were all sitting down. We had a desk pretty much right at the opening where the door was, and Arez comes in, sits down, picks up one of the markers off the table, and does this in all pen. My book was getting passed around. It just so happened to get to him first, and I saw this. I was floored. You gotta understand, at that time, I still was very much toy. Sure, I'd been doing graffiti for a few years at this point. I'd been doing it for like 6 years at this point, but I hadn't seen graffiti artists like this. This was a different level. People would come from around the world to Demer's shows that he would put on. So I was being exposed to a lot of people that I was never really around before. And this is also largely before social media and all that took off. So I didn't see stuff like this. I couldn't just go on Google and find stuff like this. So to have somebody bless my book with something of this quality and make it look so effortless, I was floored. And he was rocking one of my favorite crews from back home, PFE. PFE was the nastiest, most original crew. If you had to ask me my opinion, I would put them at the top of originality back in Jersey. I love that crew. I remember Themo, Asset were the two I really liked, and I believe Mess was another one whose work I found just to be jaw-droppingly amazing. And I'm not sure, because once again, I don't live in that area, I'm not sure how many of them still do graffiti to this day. Here we got some more Mad Hatter giving me more hand styles, and he gave me actually a few throwies as well. Then we got my brother here, Encore. Now he's a full-fledged concept artist, man. I'll have a link to him in the description. He's got some awesome work if you guys like concept art. Here we got a verse throwy, pretty dope. I love how funky this throwy is, man. He really kind of takes things and exaggerates certain areas, like the middle of the E and the bottom of the R. It's an awesome job. Even more Mad Hatter. So if you guys wanted to see his actual, you know, throwy and hand style, here it is, putting Nace up. Oh man, we have a little something simple from Top 5, and this, I hate his name. I hate his name. I'll tell you why I hate his name. Because he was one of the coolest people from back at the shop. I loved this dude. But he's got a name that you can't Google. So I can't just like see the man's work from back in the day. All I have is what I have. It's just that's it. And he always had some of the dopest throwies. The guy would, you know, you could just give him a name. It didn't matter what it was. And he would rock a throwy right there on the spot, and it'd always be dope. His brother was the same exact way, and I think we have his brother in his book as well. And those two, they were always high. Constantly high. They were never not high. If you saw them not high, then you weren't seeing them. It was that simple. Another Demer here. Always something nostalgic to see about that. And here we go. As is. Look at that hand style. Check out that throwy. Always dope. Always dope. Rocking ACS, which it originally stood for All City Styles, as well as Artistic Crime Scenes. But as a joke, we'd always make up new names that were totally not serious. Mr. Zombie. I'll be honest, I don't remember this guy. He must have been at one of the shows. That's all I remember. And we got a mess. There we go. There it is. PFE. One of my favorite graffiti artists from back home, right up there with Brew. But I'm glad that we found this one. And we got a mess throwy as well. Probably one of the shakiest hands in the world. But still, despite the shaky hands, nice throwy. Now check out that Resk throwy, man. That is sick. I used to, oh my god, this dude was one of the guys I was mentoring in the early days. Granted, he did mess up initially in these two areas, but for him not being that long in graffiti, this is really good. Then we got one from my man Dot here, which like, I love Dot, I do, but what are you doing with the crown? Come on, come on, man. Dot's that man bad time. There's some choice words I want to use in an endearing way, but I don't want YouTube to hate on me. This is the guy that Demmer was also mentoring alongside me, and once again, my partner in graffiti. To this day, I'm sure he still jokes and complains about how Demmer sent him out in order to get like lemonade or something from a Chinese store, and the military picked him up. The military was like, hey, want to be in the military? And for some reason, he said yes. Now, granted, I'm a patriotic person, but he didn't go to the Chinese store to get pulled into the military. That was funny. Oh, wow. Holy crap. ISV. That is a crew that I have not, and this is no insult to the crew, right? I loved ISV, but that's a crew I have not thought about in ages. I remember I used to know and be friends with, if I remember his name correctly, I believe it was Rock. I think his partner was either Sugar or Sour. I forget what his partner's name was because he went to jail like the day I met them. So I didn't see him again for all the time that I was friends with Rock. And he was always nice, you know, he was always cool people. I always enjoyed being around Rock. He was fun. Oh, I knew he had another brew in here and I was right. Check this out. I'm telling you, man, this guy's work was always nice. Ah, here we go. And we got Rock. Yeah, there it is, Sour. I believe that was his partner, and I think he went to jail right when we met. Sent, who was really sick back in Jersey. I used to see his stuff a lot. All right, dudes, that pretty much wraps up the video. This really was like a blast from the past, man. It's awesome going back and seeing some of these, and I have a lot more books where that came from, but I felt like, you know, starting off with this group here was good enough for now. Maybe we'll get into the other ones in another day. That being said, we still gotta finish this stack of books in next week's video, so stick around for a while. And be sure to check out the description for a holiday sale that's still going on till the new year, where you can find not only digital Procreate brushes, but also the best how to do graffiti book on the market. Now, if you guys want to check out some graffiti done in wild places like a spaceship, check out this video down here. And if you want to see the best how to do graffiti tutorials online, check out this playlist. I'll catch you guys back here next week. Thanks for watching.